But first, Peter Dutton is right. The federal opposition leader told me here last week he's going to resist this culture war against our national symbols. Now, that war is a huge issue, I think, in this country now. And today, another example. Good news, actually, before I get onto the ABC, that farce today. In Sydney, unbelievably, a massive rock concert was scheduled for Anzac Day, right in the CBD, the Domain, featuring acts like Blondie, Pink Floyd, Alice Cooper, gates to open at 11:30, right when there's supposed to be the annual Anzac Day parade to honour those who lost their lives fighting to defend this country and our values. And I take it we are still allowed to have an Anzac Day parade, right? Got to ask these days because Melbourne's Australia Day parade was banned. And the good news here is that it took no time at all for the New South Wales Premier, Chris Minns, to come down hard.
A rock concert in the middle of the CBD on Anzac Day can't go ahead, and we won't allow it to go ahead. And the truth of the matter is that is completely inconsistent with the importance of Anzac Day, the importance of the community coming together and ensuring that we can commemorate those that have given their lives in the service of our country.
I've got to say, I do feel a bit sorry for the organiser. The concert itself wasn't going to start until the afternoon, and he was giving some of the proceeds to charities for returned and injured soldiers. But still, it's good, isn't it, that we still care that much about Anzac Day, or at least one premier does. And now the bad news, in fact, the joke. Meanwhile, we are still funding, all of us as taxpayers, a national broadcaster that has so little respect for this country that on Australia Day, some ABC staff promoted online the anti-Australia Day protest, and one wore an Aboriginal flag T-shirt as she sold the protest on Instagram. But, and here is the farce, don't believe your eyes. The ABC is not biased. Not at all, not according to its managing director, David Anderson. And may the Lord not strike him dead for bearing false witness today, for 3 times he did deny it.
I believe people act impartially at the ABC. I don't see systemic bias at the ABC. I don't think there's bias in our reporting.
And because he said it on the ABC today and said it to presenter Patricia Karvelas, who's praised Labor's hopeless Indigenous Affairs Minister as a legend, of course he wasn't confronted with example after example of the very bias that only a blind man could not see, nor the deaf hear. But on Sky News, I'm glad to report we are not blind, we are not deaf. And to prove that Armstrong is either a liar or a fool, let me now give you just 3 more cases of ABC bias from the hundreds that I've presented here and in my newspaper columns. Now, of course, this is too easy. See, the ABC's massive bias on global warming, so obvious, I'm not even going to bother giving examples. But there's also its bias against Catholics. That's so bad that the ABC reported totally fake claims that the remains of 182 Indigenous children were found secretly buried at a Catholic residential school in Canada. Turns out, completely false, and the ABC has never corrected that smear. But more seriously, of course, its resident bigots and crusaders helped to hound the innocent Cardinal George Pell to jail on clearly bogus claims that he raped 2 teenagers at once in an open room right after Mass, claims that the High Court at last threw out. Not one ABC reporter ever did what I did and checked the evidence to find, well, hello, neither George Pell nor his alleged victim could have been at the scene of the crime at the only time it could have been committed, which was another ABC witch hunt based on fake evidence, you see. But again, no apology to the man the ABC falsely speared and helped to jail. But no bias on the ABC, you heard it. Well, another ABC presenter, also identifying as Aboriginal, repeated a slogan that calls for Israel to be wiped out.
As an Aboriginal sovereign woman, I stand in solidarity with my brothers and sisters of Palestine. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
This is the second area of ABC bias, you know, anti-Israel, so pro-Aboriginal, this race hatred, it's just crazy. But what about the ABC's hysterical hatred of Donald Trump? The ABC pushed another complete falsehood, that Trump stole the election that made him the US president by colluding with Russia. 4 Corners, would you believe, actually devoted 3 whole programs to this hoax. and again never apologised for pushing this complete fabrication.
Tonight, we begin our special three-part investigation into the story of the century, the election of US President Donald Trump and his ties to Russia. The Kremlin's puppet master now has America dancing to his discordant tune. He couldn't have planned it better.
But let me circle back to connect some of these examples of ABC bias. Just for David Anderson, this ABC boss who can't see any evidence of ABC bias, no matter how hard he looks. It's the ABC's race politics. Giving you a couple of examples. Here's the last one. One of its reporters, who identifies as Aboriginal, resorted to sloganeering on Australia Day.
Remember that it always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Let me repeat, there's no bias on the ABC, says its boss. Look, David Anderson doesn't seem to me to be a stupid man. Got asked then, does he really believe this garbage that he said today? Or does he think taxpayers who pay his wages are actually such idiots that they'll believe it?